Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. All right, here we go. Welcome, beloved hearts. We are in another episode of our Quantum Conversation Summit Series, Energy, Healing, and Well-Being. And my guest today is a channel for the wisdom of the angels. Raphael Weisman is here to tell us that energy healing is for everyone. Your body knows how to heal. Hi, Raphael. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Hi, Lorraine. Good to be here again. Always quite a pleasure.
Yes, we can already feel the presence of the angels. They are the higher realm beings who assist you in your work. And so we're looking forward to feeling more into that and being assisted by those angels and the wisdom that they bring forward through you for all of us. So as we're starting in our conversation, talking about energy healing, your definition of healing with energy or energy healing, how is that different from regular healing, or is it part of the whole? Can you just define that for us?
Well, the foundation of everything is energy, as you understand. So when you combine those two words, energy and healing, we're looking at the fact that everything that exists is a frequency, has a frequency, is a vibration, and is actually made up of energy. We don't have to define energy because it's a little amorphous, and we could get technical and go scientific and look at the dictionaries, and I've done that. But when I did my webinars on the introduction to energy healing, that was the foundation is, first of all, to ascertain for ourselves what we're looking at. And everything being energy, that means illness is energy, and the remedies for illness is energy. And in a way, we could have called it vibrational healing, but true healing is really using frequency to either match and heal a frequency that's slightly out of whack, or the opposite. So there's homeopathic medicine is using similar to heal something that's similar. And then allopathic and other forms of healing are using the opposite in order to rebalance something that's out of balance. And the foundation of all dis-ease or unhealed issues is stress. So the true nature of healing is removing the stressors that cause us to have an imbalance, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So, again, the laws, the universal law of correspondence, the universal law of attraction says that you attract the vibration or the frequency that is a match to yours. If your frequency is lowered because of a lot of stress, then you're going to attract that kind of energy into your life. And really, what health is, or healing, is the restoration of wholeness. It comes from the word whole. Holistic, the basis of healing is to become whole. And when we have stress in our lives, whether it's emotional, it's tension from, physical tension in your body that you've been holding and your shoulders are tight and you're not even aware of it, and taking a deep breath just allows that stress to release. And then all of a sudden you feel better. Many people, when I give them the body code session, yesterday I had a client who had already had some familiarity with emotion code. And the main thing she said at the end and even in the middle is, I feel so much lighter, because you're taking off the weight, that stress that's usually stored in the shoulders, but could be stored anywhere in the body. So essentially, we don't heal. Nobody is a healer. The body heals. What we're doing is taking away the stressor factors that prevent the body from healing itself, because the body is always attempting to find homeostasis. We're always looking for balance. We're always wanting to be, in a state of balance, in a state of equilibrium, where, just for example, we always want the money coming in and the money going out at least to be equal. And it's the same with all kinds of energy. And when we're balanced, there's less stress, and we're happier, we're lighter, and we're able to do our mission. We're able to do our work in the world. And so part of healing, from my perspective, is following a path of the spiritual warrior. You could call it something completely different, but the exercises that are in there, paying attention to your thoughts, accessing, looking at the emotions that come up, facing them, asking what is all this about, doing your exercise, eating healthy, drinking good water, having a practice that allows you to release stress. So, everything is connected, everything is interconnected. And so for me, energy healing is just doing my mission, which is to help people to be happier, to find peace, to find joy, and to be relieved of as much as of the stress as possible. And so, when I do, one of the things I do when I do the webinars or the teachings is I help people to feel energy with some simple exercises. So one of the first things I do is I ask people to hold their hands apart, and just for a few moments to get settled in and just feel what's going on between the hands. And after a moment or two, you take a breath, you calm down, and you can almost feel like you're holding a balloon or a ball. And essentially what that's doing is helping you to feel energy. And then you can play with it. So it doesn't have to be a long, big process. And you're not always going to feel it the first time if you've never tried this. But once you do feel that energy, you can open up bigger and bigger and feel that the energy is expanding and that you're still holding a field of energy. Now, when we take that exercise to the next level, I ask people to put your hand on somewhere, actually I should put on this one, where you have pain or you have stress. And I ask them to hold it, not to touch, but to just hold it there, slightly, maybe an inch away, until you start to feel warmth. And then you'll start to feel that the energy, the pain, the stress in that area is all of a sudden relaxing. So these are simple things that people can do for themselves. And they can practice, they can learn to read energy. I also teach some fundamentals of muscle testing, because everything about us is held and accessible through the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind knows everything about us, everything we've ever done. It's kind of like an internal personal Akashic record. You don't have to go into the records. You can ask the subconscious mind, you can ask our own. And then when I work with my clients, I'm accessing their subconscious mind. I have their permission, and I use a pendulum for me. This is my go-to. I also use muscle testing. I use this method of fingers, a ring and two rings, and a yes is where you can't open it, and a no, it'll open immediately. And there's many different kinds of ways to do it on yourself. The most comfortable, or the most well-known is when you go to the chiropractor and you stick out your arm, and he tries to push it down. And if he can't push it down, it's strong, it's a yes, and it indicates that what he's testing is good. And if it immediately drops down, then it's a weakness. So when I do emotion code and body code and belief code, and even when my client comes in, I will ask with my pendulum, I'll ask their subconscious mind, which modality is the most appropriate for this person. Once I don't always ascertain even what the issue is even going to be. I ask, do they need emotion code? Do they have a heart wall? Which means that they have a wall of emotions, trapped emotions that surround them, that is not allowing them to access the emotions in their body, because these emotions have surrounded their hearts to keep it safe. And usually that's the first place we'll go to release those trapped emotions from that heart wall. Until that's clear, then we can access trapped emotions in the body. And trapped emotions are like, size of a fist or a grapefruit. It's an actual ball of energy that is trapped somewhere in the body. So we're talking about energy healing. What we're trying to do is rebalance the energy of that person. And often it's going to be a trapped emotion that's at the root of whatever else is going on, whether it's in their body, their relationships, their mental state. So, we're covering a lot of territory all jumbled together. But we started with, the first thing was energy. Everything is energy, that the body is wanting, and not just the body, but the whole being is wanting to go back to a balanced state of equilibrium. And for the body, we call it a homeostasis. And then we have a way of testing and finding out, investigating what's going on. And then we have a way of clearing it. And that's what I use a magnet. This is part of the Discover Healing system that developed, Dr. Bradley Nelson developed the whole system of emotion code and body code, and now the belief code. And we use the magnet by running it over our governing meridian, which is the main meridian of the body that's connected to the others. And we simply clear it by running the magnet over that meridian. Now, this is extremely unique in the whole field of healing and of energy healing. So I like it because it gives you immediate results. And most people who are sensitive enough All my psychic clients immediately feel some relief. They see things, they can actually feel an energy leaving. When we get to more advanced techniques, like with the body code, we can release curses, we can release sabotage mechanisms. We look at ancestral healing, where you can have inherited trapped emotions, and we can release it from after we identify how many generations ago. We can actually release a trapped emotion from an ancestor, and that ancestor will know and feel the relief. And that clearing will actually clear all of the descendants from that ancestor all the way down through the children. So it's kind of spectacular that you can do that. And there are so many testimonials of people, who've been bent over and identifying perhaps even one trapped emotion that's been there from the age of 5 and clearing it. And all of a sudden, that person's standing upright and they're totally fine. And they didn't realize that they've been carrying this all their lives. So maybe I should take a moment and see if you have any questions, or you want to steer the conversation. We always get, I always start rambling.
Yes,
Uh,
but you are a wealth of information, Raphael, and you have given us a full comprehensive overview of energy healing in a way that we can completely understand it. And so the work that you do, the techniques, the modalities that you use are really helping us get to that which distorts the energy. And isn't it fascinating? It's things that happen to us, traumas. It's our minds, our distorted thoughts, um, things that happen that cause us to be stressed. So then it's interesting that the mind plays such an incredible role on the health of the energy in the body. So maybe we could go and let's talk about some of those healing modalities that you use, because it would be wonderful to see them in action.
yes.
So, each,
Let me share one or two more little not details, but perspectives,
yes.
because the, there's when people want to become healers, or they want to use some of these techniques, it's important to understand that. Remember, I said that we don't heal; the body heals itself. But as you know from the Bible and from other stories and mythologies, you can have a healing through a higher power. You can have, so-called miracle, where um, the energy of divine energy, God, you can call on a higher power. You can call on divinity and ask for healing and receive it. So, that's why I never call myself a healer. And when other people call themselves healers, I kind of shrink a bit, because all we are doing is facilitating the body's natural ability to heal. And this can also be done through a divine source. But the energy of our intention to help somebody or to clear something from their system, and our sense of authority, because if you don't trust your ability and you're wishy-washy about it, then
Mhm.
you're not going to be as effective. And so there's 3 things that I regard as the foundation of being an energy healer, even if it's just for you and your family. You're not putting up a shingle. And that is the energy, as I said, of intention, of self-authority, of feeling that you have the authority. And then, and this comes a lot in ancestral healing, because I don't only do these modalities, I also do the heart thread work, where we can call in an ancestor and talk to them and send them to the light. And also in the body code, where I can actually cut cords between people, calling in the angels. And we can, negative cording, sabotage mechanisms, curses, breaking old vows that no longer. So I use command. It's like the extension of your self-authority, to where you can actually command an energy to leave a room. You
Uh-huh.
can light a candle. And, I was taught this many, many years ago by old Chinese. The one way to clear a space is to face each of the four walls with a candle and actually command any negative entity or energy to leave that space and fill the space with light. So that combination of intention, of authority, and command also counters our natural tendency to doubt ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, practice, like with the pendulum or the muscle testing. The more practice you do, the easier things become, and the more you start to trust that what comes through you is of benefit for your client or your friend or your family member. And the trust extends to the fact that you're always working, because we always invoke a higher power when we start. I always take a moment of silence and I call on the angels and the guides and I call on a higher power and I give gratitude. And this is part of the practice of doing these modalities. And usually, I also recommend, when I do a channeling, when I do anything, is that you start by creating a unified field, by actually going into a meditative space where we connect with our guidance, we connect with our higher power, and we're in the same frequency together. And it's the frequency of the heart that is the power place, you might say, the controller of the body and the mind, but they're all working together. But the heart, the heart is that green energy that's behind you and and your backdrop. It's the energy of the green of Mother Earth. That's a healing vibration. You can send healing energy by sending a green wave of healing energy to anybody anywhere in the universe, even if they're no longer here in this form. So we can also use colors, sound. These are all energies that can help to balance frequencies that are out of alignment. So we have a huge, huge arena, a huge arsenal of tools. And I recommend for people to play with those simple exercises that I've given. Also to play with a yes, no, because the subconscious mind gives us information, but only in form of yes and no. It's a binary system. There's also neutral or maybe, where you don't actually take any action. But when you get a yes, you can then pinpoint things. So perhaps this is now a good time, unless you have any other questions, to do a little demonstration. And we can play around with that. And I could show you some of the fascination that I have with the systems that I use, because it's like being a detective, right? But then what's the most brilliant part of this system is then you have the ability, either with a magnet or just with your hand, or, sometimes I'll use a selenite, piece of crystal. But usually it's going to be a combination of the energy, of the intention, and the ability to clear the imprints. I know one way that we've explained the whole idea of the magnet and how it works, because it's still a bit of a mystery actually, is if you take a credit card and you run your magnet over it, you're going to wipe out the information that's in there. So in a way, we're wiping out the negative imprint and replacing it with a positive intention. And we can do this also because now we have something called the belief code, where we can actually take a belief system, negative programming, and we can look at it, and then we can, after you've done, all the protocols, you can release it and replace it with a positive instead of a negative statement. And when I do the heart thread, we do this automatically by connecting with the cells of the person, the cells of the body, and what messages they want to bring into the conscious mind to replace the old unconscious negative patterns. So it's a similar kind of process where you're actually reprogramming, repatterning the person's underlying mindset, their belief system, in order to effect a whole new frequency for them to live by. So, we're looking at, and then again, the understanding that everything is interconnected. So in this work, we say anything can cause anything. You can have a headache that's related to some imbalance that got trapped in your body on your big toe. And when you release it from the big toe, you actually can release the headache. And I had a woman from India, I did a session for her from a distance, and she had a pain in her wrist, and she'd had a headache. And by the time we were done, both of those were gone, even though we addressed emotional and mostly emotional issues. So there's usually a trapped emotion at the bottom of the rabbit hole. And it's like going down a rabbit hole. So let me share my screen with you. Do I need permission?
You could do that right now. You are already permitted.
There we are, permitted. So we're going to be, I'm moving us to the side here. So this is the home. The work that I do with the emotion code and the body code actually has been developed into an app that you can use. So we have 6 categories here. As you can see, in each category has subcategories. And each subcategory is going to also have categories. Let's go, though, to the emotions. And we're going to focus on trapped emotions. They're like this ball of energy that's trapped somewhere. And we have 6 kinds. Trapped prenatal, preconception. So this is in the womb. This preconception is actually a previous life, inherited, and then common. And then occasionally you can have a shared trapped emotion, like if 2 people had the same effect from a 9/11 experience. They were both there or watching it, and the same emotions at the same time came in, then they would have a shared trapped emotion that we would then release. And then absorbed. Very often people absorb trapped emotions from other people with whom they're connected. I want to take us to the common trapped emotions. And I'm going to show you, there's a chart of, I think it's 48 different emotions that we can identify. So if you're game, you could hold in your mind something you want to clear or a
Okay.
subject, and we'll play it so that it doesn't become too personal. We'll ask the guidance, we call on the guides and the angels. This is for demonstration purposes, doesn't even have to be real. But if it's not comfortable for you, I can do it on myself. And I often, because I work long distance, I tend to often be a proxy for somebody else. So you let me know what you're comfortable with, and then we'll go with that.
You are free to use me as your subject. I am cool with that.
And usually what I ask, I do another little thing where I actually have a text document open, and then I put in all their information. I usually ask their age, so I have a way of tracking an incident and when it would have happened. But I usually ask for one or two, maybe three issues they'd like to work on. And you don't have to. And the other thing is I tend to yawn a lot when I work, because I'm also releasing with the person and for the person. And then the other thing is I always tell people, if we come up with something and it's too embarrassing, you don't want to share about it or whatever, just say, I know exactly what that's about. I don't, I always give people the freedom to not share anything that they feel uncomfortable about sharing. So if you like, you could just hold in your mind a particular issue you'd like, and we'll take a moment of silence just to establish the connection between us and the permission and the highest intent for the good of Loren. So we'll look at a few trapped emotions, if there are any. And when you're ready, I'll begin.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to ask my pendulum, is there a trapped emotion for Loren that we can clear associated with the issue that she's thinking about? I get a yes. All right, so I'm getting a yes because my pendulum's, doing a nice clockwise motion. Is it in column A? No, it's not. Is it in column B? So now I've narrowed it down to this column. Is it in an odd row? No, it's an even row. Is it row 2? No, it's row 4. All right, so we're looking at energy. Here under offensive, we have curses and entities and cords, sabotage. So we're not going there right now. We're going to the emotions. And we looked at the trapped emotions. And now we're looking at this chart. So we identified it was on row 4 on column B on the right side. So we're looking at 5 choices. Is it depression, frustration, indecisiveness? No. So there's a trapped energy of panic.
Mm.
So now I can ask, is there any more I need to know? It's telling me yes. So I need to know the age at which this particular trapped emotion got trapped. I could also ask if I need to know where in the body it's trapped, and I'm getting a no, I don't need to know. So I'm going to just, pick a random set of 8. Is this before 30? No. Before 40? Yes. Before 35? No. 35, 36, 30. So around age 38, some incident happened in your life that brought up feeling of panic. And an emotion gets trapped when it's not fully dealt with and released. And we all have, maybe hundreds of them. So does that resonate with you?
Yes, I'm looking at things that were going on, and I would say absolutely. Yes.
So now I'm going to clear it because when we get to a trapped emotion and I don't need any more info, I'm going to be your proxy and I swipe with the magnet 3 times. And so I don't know if you felt anything shift, but that's how we work. Let's do a few more.
Thank you.
All right. So again, is this a common trapped emotion? Is there another common trapped emotion I can clear for Loren? Is it in column A? No, it's in column B. Odd row. Is it row 1? Is it effort unreceived? No. So this one is heartache. Do I need to know more? Yes. Do I need to know where in the body? No. So again, is this before 30? Is this before 40? It's before 40. Is it before 35? 35, 36, 37. It's 38. Is that the same age we had?
Yes.
So we have a situation of panic, and then we have a situation of heartache. Does that make sense to you?
I'm I'm in my mind looking back at what year that was for me, but yeah, I'm just looking at certain things that were going on in my life, and yes, it does make sense.
So let's clear it.
Okay,
I felt that.
I felt that.
All right, cool. So is there another trapped emotion I can release for Loren that's not common? All right, so I just wanted to broaden the scope. So we're going back to trapped emotions. Is it a prenatal trapped emotion? Preconception? No. So we have an inherited trapped emotion. This is from an ancestor. Now, one thing I want to share is that you can buy the book, The Emotion Code, and you can teach yourself how to do this yourself. That's how I started because it has the chart, it has all the information, teaches you how to do the muscle testing. And I don't know if it incorporated at that point the kinds of trapped emotions that were not the common ones. But this is a little more expansive, excuse me, and allows us to actually heal ancestral patterns. So we have an inherited trapped emotion. Is it on column A? No, it's in column B. Is it odd row? Is it row 2, row 4? It's row 6. Pride, shame. So this is the energy of shock. So there's an ancestor that had an experience of shock that somehow has traveled down through the generations and possibly is affecting you, and you would have had some experiences of shock in your lifetime. So now I ask, is this on the father's side? No. So this is on your mother's side. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? So this goes back 8 generations.
Wow.
Male? No, it's a female. So there was a female who had an experience of shock. Now, at this point, I can use I can tune in with my pendulum or psychically to see if I can actually get a hit on what happened. Or I can ask, do I need to know more? And it's telling me no. I've had, people who've had war, violent rape, different illnesses, accidents, you name it. And we've cleared it. And then the energy of that emotion is actually no longer with the ancestor or with all of the lineage going back through to you and your children. So now because I don't need to actually pinpoint exactly what happened, I can clear it. Yes, I'm getting a yes. So now I do it 10 times.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's been cleared. See, I use this sometimes to get a yes or no. Did you feel anything shift?
Yes, I feel I do. I can't articulate it. I want to use that word lighter, liberated, absolutely liberated. Um, wow. And that's really interesting because I didn't even know it was there.
You know, often that happens where people will even they can't remember, even if let's say something happened at age 8, and they can't remember it, but somewhere down the road, all
Hmm.
of a sudden something will pop in, or a breakup that happened, but they can't quite remember. And then later they'll tell me, I know exactly what that was. It kind of popped in. So that's actually one of the most common experiences when we do this work, is that somebody will feel lighter because we've actually lifted some of that energy. Um, I'm going to go back because I just want to give an overview now of some of the areas we can cover. So let's go to a misalignment, for instance. Um, as you can see, we have another 6 sets. Let's say I'm going to ask, is there anything going on in your body that needs to be addressed, that you'd like cleared? And you don't have to tell me, because I'm getting a yes to go somewhere. I'm using,
Okay. All right. So let's go there.
all right, so
Right.
it tells me soft tissue. There's
Mhm.
an organ that's slightly misaligned. Is it on the left side? No. Is it gallbladder, heart, interstitial kidney, left kidney? No, there's an imbalance in the right kidney. So, and also what I do is I have information about the kidney and what it does and how it's connected to emotions. But once I find there's a misalignment in the body, I then need to go and look at associations, and I keep looking for more and more associations until I get to the point where there's something I can clear. And hopefully we're going to just go to one or two more associations. Is there another misalignment? No. So it's taking us back home. Is this association on the left side? No. Oh, it's a pathogen. A physical pathogen? No, it's an energy of a pathogen. A
Oh,
virus, a prion, a biofilm, parasite, fung, no. So at some point, you had the energy of a bacteria in your system that was related to that kidney issue. And here are some of the symptoms, etc. Um, but it's only an energy. So you actually clear the physical bacteria, but the energy is still in your system. Are
wow.
there any associations? Yes. So now we go back home. Is the next association on the left side? Is it energy? Is it on the left side? Is it an allergy? Or, no, it's an emotion. Is it a trapped emotion? Is it common? Yep. So this is, obviously the angels orchestrate these things so that We could do it all in the right timing without having to spend a lot of unnecessary. All right, there's a trapped emotion that's affecting the kidney, the right kidney. Is it on the left side? Yes. Is it column? Is it odd row? No. Is it row 2? It's row 4. Anger, bitterness, guilt. Guilt, no. Hatred. So there's an energy of resentment,
Mm.
an old trapped emotion of resentment that somehow affected the kidney. Do I need to know more? Do I need to know age? Do I need to know where else in the body it may have lodged? No. Can I clear it? So now I clear the trapped emotion. Okay, and now I can clear the kidney because I've cleared out the bottom level. And sometimes, so that's been cleared. Sometimes, this will also take us to nutritional lifestyle. And then it would recommend body needs an essential oil. And which one is it? It's no, just for example, oh, it's hyssop. So the subconscious is recommending for your body to get a essential oil of hyssop. Now, I'm not saying this, this is just an example. It's not necessary, it doesn't apply to you. But we can get a whole backup system to help to release whatever's going on with a person's body. And so it's like going down the rabbit hole. We keep
Uh-huh.
going down association after association after association until we get to a foundational trapped emotion or a mental process that we can release and shift. So this is basically one of the modalities that I practice, and I love it because I get immediate results. And then, of course, when somebody's had, let's say they have 10 different imbalances addressed, it's possible that they need a few days of processing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also possible that, some stuff is going to come up. They might have those emotions might come back. They may get very exhausted. And so we always tell people, I always check how many days a person needs in order to allow it all to process and then integrate. So that's an overview of this particular, it's called Discover Healing. And I recommend for people who want to get into energy healing that they actually buy the book or they get the book out of the library called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And then they practice it for themselves. And it's amazing. I've done, I did the very first time I worked on an animal. This animal was amazingly skittish. And I had the emotion code chart on my phone and I had a magnet or something with me. And that the three passes of the magnet and this animal was like calm and docile. I was blown away.
Oh, wow. This is really fascinating because we all need this. We all
Yes.
need this. This works for every human, no matter what the situation, right?
Well, beyond human, as I said,
Non-human.
you can work, yeah, you can work with animals. You can work by proxy. I've done work on I have a grandson who's autistic, and I'll work as his proxy. We've also worked in Heart Thread. We've worked with somebody who was the proxy for a child or somebody who was very ill or was going through a major emotional breakdown, and they were the proxy. So we work directly with them. And then, as I said, we can work with ancestors. We can clear out curses. And I've actually had a lot of people who've had entities,
Mm.
that I could help. I call in Archangel Michael to cut cords, to release hexes and spells, and to clear out old oaths and vows. And then people who've had, something's not quite right, and then we find out that there's some sabotage mechanism that somebody has directed at them. So it's amazingly comprehensive. How much, and then what I've learned is that when I put my hands on an area of pain for somebody else, I can actually start to feel the heat, and they actually get relief from their pain. That's why I introduced those exercises, because you can go up to somebody who has pain in they're rubbing their shoulder, and you put your hand there and you just hold it there with clearing your mind, and you start to feel the heat. When I was doing heart thread, we sit behind the person with our hands on their back, and we get message points on the body that give us these messages. And very often I would feel heat. And sometimes over the phone, I would do a heart thread session, and I would just have them feel their shoulders getting softer. And I'd ask them to say, my shoulders are getting softer. I'm beginning to feel the warmth, and everything is getting to melt. And you can actually feel, and that person is actually noticing that their body is getting softer, the tension is leaving, and the warmth is actually entering them, even though we're at thousands of miles of distance. So this is all about energy healing, and energy is everything. And our intention aligned with energy can affect miracles. So that's a quick, I mean,
Yes.
a short 1 hour session. This is like a snippet. I usually go over an hour when I work with somebody. That,
Yes. I just want to say that you are a wealth of information, and that what you just said there, energy creates miracles. Well, how did you put that? Because that's worthy of a sticky note.
um, how would I
Yeah,
put
how
it?
would we?
I guess we'd have to listen again. Um, the energy, the energy of intention aligned with a higher power can produce miracles. Larry Dossey has already outlined the power of prayer and how we affect people. And they've done these experiments with transcendental meditation, where you can actually lower the violence level in a city by 50 or so people meditating at the same time with transcendental meditation. So the power of accessing energy for a positive
Yes.
purpose counters all of the negative energies that are harming and affecting people. And if our intention is of the highest order, and where intentions are pure, and it's not about ego, then we can create tremendous benevolence. Every morning I have a list of friends and family and people that I send healing to. And you never know. We're told that this works, that it affects people because everything is interconnected. And the other important part of energy healing is to recognize that we're not the body, we're not the mind, we're not the emotions, and we're not the ego, personality. We're immortal, eternal, infinite, and universal beings. And we're all made up of God's love, which
Mm.
is vibration. The energy of source is what created everything and what can heal anything that's out of balance by restoring the equilibrium, as we said in the beginning.
Thank you. So beautiful. A wealth of information. I know people are going to want to sign up for personal sessions with you so that you can assist them in the facilitation of their own energy healing. Again, it's just really remarkable that we don't know. We don't even know. It's in our subconscious, but the modalities that you use help us uncover that. And it's beautiful to think of these modalities as energy chiropractors, really.
I
Um,
love that.
Energy chiropractors, where you're really assisting us in becoming whole and releasing these trapped emotions that we don't even know are there. So I really love that. People can scroll down on this webpage and learn more about sessions with you. But I also am very excited to say that you are on a mission to teach these skills, energy healing practices to people who are ready to incorporate this in their life, whether they want to go out and help the public at large. There's so much work that can be done on this planet that we all know, but also just our own life and the loved ones around us. So you've got a couple of webinars that are coming up that teach people really great fundamental skills. Tell us about these webinars and what people can expect to learn.
So I do two. I'm offering two webinars, and I recommend that people sign up to do both of them because the first one is the introduction to energy healing. We've covered snippets of it in our conversation. And then the next one is a slightly more advanced in information on how we can work. I call it ancestral healing, but it's really, it's like the next level of doing healing that's more, uh, slightly more advanced. So in that arena, we talk about the curses and the cords and all the other mechanisms that we can also clear. And then at the end, I decided this time at the end, I'm going to do a free webinar on the emotion code, which just presents through the PowerPoint the outline of how emotion code works, because it's readily available. People can buy the book or they can get the audio book and they can actually play with it themselves. But we do some of the exercises that we shared in those webinars. And if you do want personal sessions, I'm also offering special offers where instead of a 130 for an hour, they get 3 sessions for 100 each. So you sign up for a 3-pack, which I always recommend because once you start working with the energy, you're clearing layers. Bless you. You're clearing layers, and that's a little release there. And so as you start going deeper, you clear the surface layer. And then sometimes if the person does have a heart wall, that it usually can take more than 2 sessions, not always, but it could take up to 3 sessions to clear the heart wall. And then I also offer a special arrangement of 5 sessions for a reduced rate. And I have families who have signed up for those. I've done the kids, I've done the mother-in-law, I've done the wife and the husband, and then I started doing their friends. So these are ways to get a slightly longer term program of relief. And I'm getting truly amazing results and lots of wonderful testimonials for this work.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for making those sessions so available and affordable. Again, it is an energy chiropractor. If we go to a chiropractor for an adjustment, what you're doing in this session, which you've said you even go over an hour because it's whatever you see that needs to be cleared and comes up for people in their sessions. It's just wonderful that you're offering this in a way that people can really transform their lives and become whole and be healed from this. And then turn and share some of these sessions with their family. That's beautiful. So thank you for offering the sessions at a reduced rate and the webinars with you. I think everyone should sign up and learn from you because of the wealth of information that you hold on your journey. It's just remarkable. And as we mentioned, the world really needs this work as we all step into our new earth roles. These are skills that are very beneficial, and light workers are definitely needed for all things on this planet. So we start in our little communities and our little aura in our little field of people, but yet it can also go across the planet. We can do distant healing. Can we apply this to groups of people or places on the planet as well? Or is it really good just to focus on animals and humans in our awareness?
Interesting, because originally they said you can only work on individuals, but in some of the continuing education, we actually did some of these things. We do resets where you can actually reset a whole set of um, aspects of the body. Like you do the chakra, clear all the chakras, you do the left side of the brain, the right side, and you balance and you align. And so we did a practice in one of these where we actually did it with the whole group, and
Mm,
people had amazing results. And the other thing, you mentioned the light workers.
yeah.
So this is very potent for people who are light workers to allow them to play with energy in another way and
Mhm.
learn more about how they affect others and how they can also keep their energies clear and strong. I also recommend doing clearings before and after. I mean, we couldn't go into everything. And then the other thing is The Path of the Spiritual Warrior, the book that I channeled, also talks a lot about basic practices to keep yourself balanced and to actually raise your frequency. But one of the things that I find with other healers and with light workers is in the process of them doing their benevolence to the world, they can attract entities. They're working with other people and they didn't necessarily clear. And so this can also be beneficial it's almost like, maintenance,
Yeah.
uh, self-help maintenance, where we change your oil and we grease the joints, and we release all the toxins from the body, and we help to maintain the highest frequency possible, especially when people get affected by the negative bombardment, when they're not able to shield themselves well enough, or they're not aware that they can actually absorb some of that negative energy. So it provides, and this is something you can do on yourself. You can do an emotion code or body code session on yourself. In fact, yesterday I actually did a belief code session for myself because I was dealing with some stuff and I felt, you know what, I really need to get to the bottom of this. And the belief code takes us underneath when you're not getting results after many sessions. Sometimes we'll go to the belief code and it will get us to that underlying beliefs that we've inherited, or we accumulated from our childhoods. So it's like chiropractic for the soul, chiropractic for the energy healing. And it's like, with a chiropractor, you get realigned, you get adjusted, and then after a while, you have to watch your thoughts, you have to watch your emotions, because things go back out again, because you haven't addressed the root cause. And our intention is always to get to a root cause that we can clear so it's no longer a player in the person's life.
Yes. All right. Thank you for this incredible work and for sharing your wisdom in our presentation today. It really is powerful tools that we can use in our life, and we can become those energy healers, facilitators for energy healing, and make the world a better place. It's really powerful and quite effective. So thank you, Raphael. Thank you. Thank you. Again, our audience, please, if this resonates with you, we know it does, scroll down on this webpage, learn more about how you can work with Raphael in personal sessions for you and your family members or your animals, and also join him for the lessons in energy healing. It's very exquisite, the opportunity before us, because we get to learn how to make our lives better with energy healing. So, Raphael, thank you. We are so grateful for your time today and your wisdom. And as we say goodbye, I want to give you a moment for any final thoughts.
Well, everything, again, I highly advocate self-love. If anything, look in the mirror and see yourself as the love of God. Recognize that we're all immortal, we're all one underneath of the differences, underneath of the appearances, and that we all deserve to have a happy, prosperous life full of ease and grace and magic. And give that to yourself every day. Do a practice, and that be part of your practice.
That feels so good. And another sticky note that is worthy of being written for that. But more important than a sticky note, that daily practice of looking in the mirror and seeing yourself as God. Powerful. Raphael, thank you. And thank you for the angels being here, guiding us along the way as well.
Thank you, dear. Always a pleasure.
Namaste.
Namaste. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.